Good morning, everyone. We're looking at Psalm 65, verses 11 through 13 today, and I thought that they were really appropriate because as I was reading them, they reminded me of a truth that somehow we can tend to forget, and it's definitely not told to us in the normal culture. When people talk about God in the normal culture, they think about him as a tyrant from heaven, someone who just lays down rules and throws people in hell and is there ready to pounce on anyone when they make a mistake, that they paint him as cold and unmerciful. And nothing is further from the truth. This is the nature of our God, and it's portrayed so beautifully here in Psalm 65. It says about God, "You crown the year with your goodness, and your paths drip with abundance. They drop on the pastures of the wilderness, and the little hills rejoice on every side. The pastures are clothed with flocks. The valleys are also covered with grain. They shout for joy. They also sing." This psalm, in this beautiful language, tells us about a God whose mere presence drips with abundance, and that everything around him becomes alive, that the pastures in the wilderness, they rejoice. The pastures and the hills are covered with flocks. The valleys are covered with grain, and all of nature shouts with joy and sings in the presence of God. How different is this from sometimes how we perceive him? Sometimes we're afraid to come to God. We're afraid maybe to ask him something. Sometimes we think God's stingy with his blessing. But look at these words. His paths drip with abundance, that in his very nature, in his very presence, there is nothing but abundance. He's a wonderful God, a giving God. He's holy, that's true. He's pure, but he's loving and merciful and kind. And he pours out blessings every day. And if we just stop to count them, we'd see that each day is filled with so many blessings. Jesus summed this up so much in his message in John chapter 10. He said, "I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly." And this is what God wants for our lives. He wants us to have an abundance, not of money, not of things, because sometimes money can bring with it troubles, and sometimes things can bring with them an overwhelming responsibility so that we get enslaved to the possessions rather than having them sometimes free us. God will give us exactly what we need when we need it, and he will be abundant with his blessings in our life. So just read through these verses and picture it in your mind, and every time you're tempted to draw a negative portrait of God in your mind, I want you to think about this, because this is the nature of our God. Abundance, blessings, joy, singing, goodness. What a wonderful God we serve. Have a great day.